So, big news in the Boston sports market today. Jackie McMullen, very notable NBA columnist in the Boston media. Obviously, I think actually she's a Hall of Fame media consultant for the NBA. She was having a discussion, not on the air, but off the air on a show on ESPN, not PTI, not Around the Horn. I'm not exactly sure what show it was. Maybe it was Numbers Never Lie or one of those numbers. And she was, and she was having a discussion about Rajon Rondo, essentially saying that Rajon Rondo has asked for his trade from the Boston Celtics, has asked to be traded, rather, from the Boston Celtics to another team. Now, this does not surprise me, and honestly, folks, all you green teamers out there who are holding on hope that Rajon Rondo is going to be a part of this building process going forward, it's time for a reality check. The Big Three era is over. We drafted a point guard with the 6th pick in the NBA draft in 2014. It is time to move on from Rajon Rondo. And what Jackie Mac said is 100% accurate. We'll probably be lucky if we get 80 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar for Rajon Rondo at this point. Who would want him? He's kind of over the hill, 29. He's going into a contract here where he expects probably a max contract or something similar in compensation. He has a bad attitude. He was given that C, and I think that was the worst thing the Celtics could have done last year was give him the captain. I think Sullinger deserves that C more than him, just for how he carries himself. I mean, Rondo didn't deserve that C whatsoever. At the end of the season, where they have the captain address the crowd, he didn't even address the crowd. He was there in street clothes. It was Jared Sullinger who addressed the crowd. So for me, once we didn't get Kevin Love, which I knew probably was going to happen for the Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavaliers had the inside track on that with having Andrew Wiggins as compensation for that trade. So, honestly, I have no reservations with Rajon Rondo getting traded. I think it's time for Rajon Rondo to get traded, and I think the Boston Celtics need to move on to the next step. I feel like they should have definitely traded him in the offseason when there was that rumored deal with the Sacramento Kings for the 8th pick or the 7th pick, whatever it was. I think it was the 8th pick. Why not? We should have struck on that. We could have had 6 and 8. Could have got a couple of really good players there in that spot. Good power forwards, some good centers. I feel like we should have done that deal. Instead, now we're stuck with Rondo. Nobody wants Rondo. It's very unfortunate. I don't want him to leave and not get any compensation. So at this point, I don't want it to be a distraction. I don't want it to be fake. I don't want him to be here and say all the right things just to say him in the media. But in all actuality, he don't want to be here. He wants to pursue a championship or he wants to get paid. It's all good. The Celtics are hitting the reset button. Hey, Kevin Durant's a free agent in a couple years. Maybe you can make a run at him. But in the meantime, you need to focus on getting young talent in here, developing and evaluating that young talent, and getting out of here the pieces that we can't use and try to get some compensation so we can get young talent for that compensation. It's simple. There's no Rajon Rondo's going to rot away with no purpose on this team. Kind of like how Chris Paul was on the New Orleans Hornets the last couple of years. It's time to make the move. It's time to trade the young point guard from Kentucky, number 9 Rajon Rondo. And at this point, we could get Eric Bledsoe back. We could get a second-round pick back. It's just time to make the move. Obviously, you don't want to make the move for just a second-round pick. Let's not be serious. Let's not be ridiculous. Let's be serious. However, it's time to make the move, folks. Credit to Jackie McMullen. I know she was kind of outed with this against her will because she did not record this on the on-camera segment, but the mic, she was mic'd, so you got to be careful with some of these shows. They're looking for inside track, breaking kayfabe sorts of things, and certainly this story is served up, and people are feeding at the trough with this story, all sports fans. And this story had quieted down, but Mike Felger said it on the Sports Hub earlier. By the way, shout out to Felger and Maz, had me on their show earlier talking about Tom Brady and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo. But certainly, it's time to move on. I would be surprised if we were keeping Rajon Rondo at this point. So, if you ain't moving forward, you're going backward. It's time to move forward, Celtic fans. Time to get with the program. Rajon Rondo. And by the way, the last 2 years, our record actually worse with Rajon Rondo than better. The last 2 seasons. Quite interesting, isn't it? Joe Passarelli. Subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to the Wrestling Throwdown as well for all the wrestling reviews on that channel. Stay tuned for more. We're hitting you with a bunch of content today, folks. Peace. Subscribe.